So, wanted to get up on here, talk a little bit about parenting styles. All right, let me push this back a little bit. Hope you guys out there doing pretty good. So, what do you think is your parenting style? Like, I know there's a lot of parenting styles out here. I've seen different kinds of parenting styles, and everyone is different. Everyone, raises their children in a different way, and that's fine. My opinion is you need to switch your parenting style at different stages of your children's lives, because your children will go through certain phases of life where they may want to talk to you, or they may not want to talk to you. So there's different styles that we as parents need to switch up on and kind of understand when things need to be different. Our child is not going to always respond to us in certain ways that we like. So that's something we need to understand as parents. Parenting styles. So some of the parenting styles I want to go over are the first one. I'm gonna mention the first one. So the first one is the permissive parent. Now, this is the parent that, they give their children a little more independence. And by little more independence, I say that loosely because a lot of times it's like over the top, permissive. So they allow their children to, they may allow their children to decide what they want to eat for dinner. They may allow their child to decide if they want to even take a bath or when to go to bed. Oh, I want ice cream for dinner. Yeah, I want chocolate. I want chocolate ice cream with the chocolate fudge. Yeah, I want that for breakfast. These are the permissive parents. So when I think of permissive parents, I think of the movie called Yes Day. Yes Day is a movie where I think it's like a group of kids that, they go to their parents and they advise a plan, and their parents have to say yes to like everything they ask for. I don't think I would be able to actually enable a yes day in my household. I don't think so, because my kids would be asking to do the most. I'm gonna be honest. Like, they'll be asking, like, "Oh, can we go to the roller coaster? Can we do skydiving? Can we do this?" That'll be my kids. So there'll be a lot of no's. What's going on, Jenna? There'll be a lot of no's in my yes day. I'm gonna be honest. Like, that movie was a fun movie. Like, I remember watching Yes Day on Netflix, and it was pretty fun. But can I really see myself? What's up, Gorilla? How you doing? Can I really see myself saying I'm gonna give my kids a yes day? No, I don't think I can really go down with that, because I feel like my day is going pretty good. How's yours? I don't think I can give my kids a yes day, because I feel like they will be asking for the most craziest things. Honestly, they will be waking me up at 7 a.m. when I'm trying to sleep, because us parents, we like to catch up on sleep. We're not trying to wake up early. Excuse me. We're not trying to wake up early if we don't need to. My children would wake me up at the crack of dawn. I'm talking about airport time, like 3, 4 hours before you even at the airport. They will wake me up at that time to say, "Can we do this?" Now, this is what the permissive parents do. A lot of permissive parents, they give their children more leeway to do things that on their time. And to be quite honest, I feel like there's nothing wrong with giving your children a little more independence, but at the same time, you got to know where to draw a line. I just don't think letting your kids do everything they want to do is the right decision. My opinion, but there's some parents out there that will let their children really make these kinds of decisions. Like, oh, you know what? I'm not even going to take a bath tonight because I don't want to. You know what I mean? Like, listen, in my household, you got to take a bath. You got to wash your ass. Like, you're not going to tell me you're not going to take a shower. You're not going to bathe. You have to clean yourself. There is no decision when it comes to that. You have to do it. Like, there are certain things I'm going to say that is not tolerated. It's just not. If you guys join in the live, please like, so I can continue on gaining a community. Press the like button, hearts, whatever you got to do. The next parent is the authoritative parent. So I don't know if any of you guys got a taste of the authoritative parent. This is the parent that is very strict. This is the parent that has a lot of strict rules, and these rules have to be followed. And if these rules are not followed, there are strict consequences that come in place. So with these parents, don't even ask them to be doing no sleepover. The authoritative parents are not playing that. They're just not playing that. The authoritative parent is the type of parent that you got to go to church every Sunday. You got to do this. You got to do the dishes. You got to they have a very strict set of rules. And if you're not following these rules, you're going to get in trouble. That's the authoritative parent. Now, growing up, I had the authoritative parent. Like, my mom didn't play. Like, I remember there was one time I was riding my bike and we had like this alleyway, the funnest alleyway. I used to go down this alleyway. Let me tell you a little bit about the alleyway. The alleyway for us kids was forbidden. No one was supposed to go down there. But the alleyway had like this slope. So when you rode your bike down there, you got this gust of wind that was just so invigorating. Anyway, I digress on that. But the authoritative parent is the one that's going to really give you consequences if you're deciding you're not going to listen. My mom was an authoritative parent. And when I broke the rules, I suffered the maximum consequences. Maximum consequences. I remember there was this one time when I was not back in the house at a certain time. Because, we all, no, I'm not going to say all, but some of us had curfew. So we couldn't mess around and miss curfew. You know what happened when you miss curfew with an authoritative parent? You got a beating for the most part. I lived in a household where if I did not follow rules, I got a beating. And I remember one time I got a beating so severe, I went fast asleep. Like I took Benadryl. It was one of those beatings where it was like, listen, you're going to get this belt and you're going to go swift to sleep. And let me tell you about the aftermath of getting a beating that badly. The sleep is awesome. Like, when you get a beating that bad from your parents, it's like some of the best sleep. I don't know how I can explain it, but it's like you're sitting on the island and a warm breeze hits you, or ever so slightly, and you feel like you're sitting on a cloud. This beating that my mom gave me, based on me just entering in the home after curfew, it was the Benadryl beating. I went right to sleep. Right to sleep. And these beatings you never forget. Like, I remember this beating was etched into my brain. I will never forget that beating. I remember trying to escape a beating. You guys ever tried to escape a beating? I remember I did something in school. I don't remember I don't remember what I did, right? But I did something bad in school. And excuse me for a second. I did something bad in school. And the teacher called my mom, and left a voicemail saying, Mrs. Griffiths, I just want you to let you know that your son did blah, blah, blah in school. So, when you're a little kid and you're in trouble, what I did, I tried to beat my mom home to get to the voicemail. And back in the day, the voicemail was left on this little tiny tape. So I tried to like maneuver the tape out of the machine. Didn't work. Tried my best though. So I say, you know what? Why am I sweating this? She's going to forget when she gets home. She's going to forget. Do old school parents ever forget what you did? No, they don't. So I was very delusional in that moment. So my mom gets home after, and she listens to the voicemail. Here's the thing. Kids at that age, when you're a young millennial and you think that your mom forgot what you did in school, you think she forgot. I went to sleep thinking my mom forgot all about the trouble I caused in school. I went to sleep thinking, okay, yeah, this is the plan. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to wake up, refresh. She's going to forget all about the trouble I did in school. Wrong. When I tell you she woke me up with the belt, I'm going to pause the story right here. Think about being woken up with a belt. Think about that for a second. You are in a deep sleep, like you are basically dreaming within the clouds. And then your mom comes home after hearing what you did in school, after hearing the craziness, the trouble you caused your teachers in school, and your mom gets home and you think you're going to fall asleep and you think your mom is going to forget what you did in school. Picture this. You think she forgot all about it. She woke me up with that belt. I was in a deep, precious, serene, tranquil sleep. When I say the belt came down, oh man, like I woke up like I feel like when the belt woke me up, I felt like a sunlight just came into the room and I was kind of like one of these, like I thought sun came out. I was like, why is the sun out? It's nighttime. I don't understand what's happening. The belt came down. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Didn't I say, whoosh, get your ass up. Whoosh. This is how you act in school. One of the worst. One of the worst traumatic beatings I've ever received. And to this day, it's still etched in my mind, that severe beating I got. Back in the day, old school parents did not play with you. They did not play any games. Like I'm like surprised that us millennials, we made it to where we are. Like we came from the 90-degree slides, 90-degree metal slides. You guys remember that era? That's the era when things were just simplified, but yet dangerous. Like this is the era when we were left in like 90-degree cars with the windows up. And we were told to stay in that vehicle. Do not get out that car. That's what we were told. And yet we survived that era. As grown millennials now, we can look back and say, I don't know how I survived. I don't know how I survived that era, because being raised by parents, by old school parents, you really start to wonder, like, you guys were committing a lot of child abuse. You guys were committing child abuse because you could not do that in today's world. You couldn't. There'll be no way what my parent did to me, back in the day, there would be no way that's legal today. No way. That would be considered child abuse. And I feel like CPS would definitely have a field day. But like I said, with old school parents, especially old school West Indian parents, they're a different breed. They are a different breed. They're the type of parents will tell you to go get the belt that they're going to beat you with. What? Wait. What did you just say? They're going to tell you to get a specific belt that they're going to beat you with. Like, there is no way that's not like mentally disturbing. You're going to tell me to go retrieve the belt that you're going to beat me with. And then on top of that, if the belt is not satisfactory to you, you're going to beat me even worse. Like, how is that even fair? How is that fair? It's really not. I kind of dived off the board with that. Let's get back to it. So, the neglectful parent. So the neglectful parent, they'll take care of basic needs at times, but then when it's time to actually pay attention to the child, or actually be consistent with taking care of these basic needs, this is where they fall short. And a lot of the neglectful parents, they will have the kid just sitting there, and the kid is wondering if they're even going to get a meal, if they're even going to get their basic needs met. Do I have soap? Do I have hair gel? Do I have the things that I need on a daily basis? And the neglectful parent normally will not even have those things for them. Even the neglectful parent will sit on their phones. You have a certain play, for example. You're on the stage. You want your parent to watch you and pay attention to you. Your parent is doing this. This is dumb. So during your special moment, all you want is attention, and you can't even get that. You can't even get the attention. So a lot of neglectful parents, they just don't pay attention. And when they do pay attention, it's only for a limited amount of time. So honestly, to be honest, I feel we as parents, we have to be a mixture we have to be a mixture. And neglectful parent, that's one parenting style you don't want to take on at all. And I say this all the time to fellow parents, or to even to my wife. We have conversations about this. And I say, don't be afraid to be the villain. Listen, I know for a fact, if you're not making your children mad, if your children are not angry with you, if your children don't like you at any point of parenthood, you're not doing something right. You're not doing something right. If your children like you all the time, you're not doing something right. I got family members that they always want to be my daughter's friends. And my thing is, you can't expect to be a child's friend. You know what I mean? Like, a child needs instruction. They need structure. They need love. Yes. But there's times when children will mess up and they need discipline. They need critique. They need feedback. This is the time not to be their friend. When they make an error, this is not the time for you to be like, oh, you did this? Oh, it's okay. Let's go get a milkshake. Like, what? No. Correct the child when they do something wrong. Even when they do something wrong for the first time, you don't have to correct them in a harsh way. it could be a teachable moment for that child. Let them know in a loving way, this way didn't work. Let's try to figure out a solution. Let's try to do something that will benefit you next time. So you don't, you know, so you don't always feel like you're coming down on your children really hard. What's up, Lexi? So we're just talking about parenting. We're talking about just the whole parenting journey and what kind of parent we should be, because there's so many different parenting styles. And honestly, like I said, I'm gonna repeat this again. Don't be afraid to be a villain to your children. You're not gonna always be liked. Your children are not going to always like you, and that's okay. That is okay. I told my daughter earlier today, and I said, in order to remember your things, because she's very forgetful of her things at school, I said, what can we do to remember the things that we need to remember at school? Tell me a solution. What can we do? And, a lot of times kids' favorite answer, what is it? I don't know. And I looked at her, I told her, listen, we got to figure out another answer than I don't know. I don't know is not an answer. Because I don't know to me means you're not even thinking of what an answer could be. So when you tell me I don't know, that means you're not trying. You're not trying to think of something. You're not taking your time to slow down and think of a solution. Because your first response just shouldn't be, I don't know. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, I don't know. But this is the default answer that a lot of kids give us adults. I don't know. Did you take a shower today? I don't know. Did you eat today? I don't know. Did you do your homework? I don't know. Did you jump off the preschool building today? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You're here. Like, it gets frustrating. It gets really frustrating. Like, comes to a point where it's like, come on, you know better. You know better. And parenting really takes a lot of energy out of you. And you ever get to a point in parenthood where you're repeating yourself constantly and you just feel the soul just getting sucked out of you because you're repeating yourself constantly and you don't even realize you're repeating yourself. But it gets to a point where on the third time you repeat yourself, you feel like you're out of breath and you're like, what the hell is going on? Why my chest feel tight? Because you keep repeating the same damn thing. You're not even breathing. Like, anger can cause you not to breathe temporarily. Did you guys know that? Like, you're stressing yourself out to a point where it's like you're not even breathing at a consistent rate. And these kids will do it to you. And honestly, the advice I can say to do is just like that. Walk away, exhale, understand your children are going to make mistakes, because I know I need to remind myself of that a lot of times. These children are not going to be perfect. And if we raise these children thinking they have to meet our expectation every time, we're in for a real disappointment. We're in for a real disappointment. No child is going to be perfect. No child is even going to be all that good, to be honest. Like, these kids have to discover themselves. They don't know who they are yet. They have no idea who they are or what their potential could be. No idea. And for all we know, our kid could end up being the Joker. We have no idea what our kid going to turn out to be. And it's a scary feeling because we all we all see our children being successful. We all see our children, or we actually want our children to be better than us as adults. But like I said, we don't know what direction our children will travel in. We hope they're not gonna, if you have daughters, you would hope they're not gonna be an OF chick, we would hope not, you know what I mean? You would hope your son is not gonna be a vigilante one day, you would just hope positive, good things for your children. But the reality of it all is we have no idea. We have no idea what our children will turn out to be, who they'll turn out to be, what they'll actually do in this world. We have no idea. They could be a Batman villain for all we know. We have no idea who they're going to turn out to, who they're going to talk to. We don't know what they'll do. But the thing we can do as parents is continuously guide our children, guide them in the ways that they should be, and hopefully, with prayer, with continuously reassuring them, allowing them to understand that I'm here for you if you need anything, making them understand that if you mess up, I'm here. Don't worry about it. We're going to get back up and we're going to try again. Understand that life is about making mistakes, but understanding that with the mistake I made, I'm able to figure out how to make things better. Because our children are going to mess up a whole lot of times. And we got to understand this. They're not going to be perfect. They're going to mess up. And then even when we give our children the advice they need, they're going to mess up again. There's not going to be a moment in time where our children will meet our expectations exactly the way we have it in our heads. No way. No way. And I can't have that unrealistic expectation for my kids to think they're going to follow everything that's going on in my head to a T. If I expect that, then, maybe I'm the unrealistic parent to think they're going to follow everything that I want them to follow. I don't think it's going to happen. Because my child, my oldest child, I should say, she comes home and she's at the stage of life where she has like the attitude is coming in, the moodiness, and it could be due to puberty coming in, and, things are changing with the body, the way she's thinking, the friends she may have, all of that. All of that could be cues of, puberty setting in. And it's a scary thing because as a parent, you're like, all right, so now the parenting style has to switch up. Because if you were an authoritative parent before, do you think being an authoritative parent is always going to work? I don't think so. Because I feel like with our kids, parenting styles need to switch as our kids get older. They're not going to always express themselves in the same way when you were first raising them. When you were first raising your children, they express themselves in certain ways. And in the beginning, you thought you had the parenting style for them because it may have been working. But what happens when your child starts to exhibit different behaviors as they get older? What if they stop wanting to have movie night with you? Those little cute activities you did when they were younger. What happens when they stop wanting to do those things? And now they're like, I want to go hang out with my friends. Like, I don't want to do movie night anymore. I don't want to do these things that we used to do all the time, every Friday. I don't want to do it anymore. Then what? What are you as a parent going to do? This was your fun activity for your children. So you always thought this would always happen. And your children just let you know, this is not something that I always want to do. I'm getting older now. I'm more mature. Now I want to hang out with my friends. And now all of a sudden you become the uncool dad or the uncool mom. Now you're in a different phase. Now what do you do? So, like I said, with parenting, it just comes down to understanding where your child is and meeting them. What's up, Kiss? How you doing? And it just comes down to meeting your child where they are and kind of just getting on their level and understanding what you can do to help your child at that stage they're at. And a lot of times, like I said, children are going to switch phases. They're never going to stay in the same phase. My child, my daughter, my oldest daughter, her phase is slowly changing. Like before, she was at a stage where it was like, all right, everything was cute. We go to the movies, we do this, we do that, the little small things. But now it's like we still do movie nights on Fridays, but it's like so different now because now she wants to talk to her friends on the iPad. She wants more play dates. She wants things like that. And it's like, what do you do? You're right. You're right, Kiss. Is everything changes. Everything, the kids are not going to always want to do the same things. And I feel like a lot of kids, when as they get to a certain stage of their life, they just don't want to bother with you. And you become like that uncool person. And my kids, they didn't have to grow up with the type of parent I grew up with. Like my mom was awesome, but like I said before, the old school parents, they handled things so differently. Like some of the things my daughter's able to get away with, I wasn't able to get away with, like at all. Like if I would go back in the day and tell my mom, I'm not trying to eat that. I want some McDonald's. She would look at me like, you got McDonald's money? Please tell me if you got McDonald's money because last time I checked, and she would look at her metaphorical watch, just last time I checked, that food was on the table for you to eat. The last time I checked. The back seat journeys where you think, oh yeah, McDonald's is coming up. I'm gonna just ask her for some McDonald's. You ain't got no change in your pocket, but you sitting up there asking for McDonald's. You ain't getting no McDonald's. Don't even act. Don't even look at me. You see those little two eyes in the little rearview mirror looking at you. I couldn't ask for certain things. That's the thing, and a lot of times our children are able to get away with this. I blame it on society now. Like, I'm not going to be the type of parent my parent was. So it's a little more lenient now. Like, it's not like strict back in the day, like fire hydrant days, ice cream truck days. It's no longer like that. So a lot of times our children are able to get away with things that we weren't able to get away with. Even when they get in trouble. Here's the thing. Like you guys remember when you got in trouble back in school and teacher will call your mom, your dad, leave that stern voicemail on the machine. And when you get home, it is on. Like you are in trouble. When I tell you the beatings I used to get, I'm gonna repeat this again because I did repeat it earlier. The beatings I used to get were harsh. And when I say harsh, I'm talking about Benadryl beatings. The beatings where you go straight to sleep? Those beatings. And my mom was the type to tell me, go get this belt from upstairs and bring it back down. Huh? Like, what kind of parents did we have to tell us to retrieve a certain kind of belt for us to get beaten with. Like, that blows my mind when I think about it now, because I'm like, that not only is that physically is going to be physically damaging, but it's mentally scarring too, because it's like that walk upstairs, like that walk upstairs is the worst, depending on the location of the belt, right? I remember we had a staircase. So I'm walking upstairs, I'm going to the closet. I'm like, all right, so now I'm looking at the selection of belts. Now I'm like, all right, so which belt? It's like I'm looking at shoes in the department store. All right, so which belt am I going to pick now? Should I pick this? This one has a couple of holes in it. Should I pick that one? I don't know. It's almost like I'm looking at a bill at a restaurant, or looking at the receipt, trying to see the gratuity and trying to understand what tip am I going to give you. And if you upstairs for too long and you haven't decided what belt to get, you're going to be in more trouble. So back to the story. I'm here looking at belts. I'm like, all right, so which belt am I going to pick? All right, let me pick this one. And here's the thing. If you pick the belt, right? Listen closely. If you pick the belt that does not look painful, you're going to get a worse beating. Worse beating. You got to pick a belt that you got to pretend like your parent that sent you to get the belt, they actually traveled upstairs with you and approved the belt that you pick. Tell me how mentally scarred some of you are just listening to this, because as a millennial now, and I'm just like thinking back to those days when I got those whoopings, and I'm like, you had me retrieve a belt. You had me retrieve the belt you wanted, and if it wasn't good enough, I'm getting another Benadryl beatings. And let me tell you something about a Benadryl beating. The sleep was awesome. The sleep was some of the best sleep you got. Like, the days in school when you fell asleep on the wooden desk and you had that saliva on the side of your face, that kind of sleep. And those beatings, when I tell you, I got some of the best sleep. And like those classes where you just exhausted and you couldn't hold your head up and you were just like, those kind of classes. It was just insane. Like, but to be honest, I wouldn't change it for a thing. Like, growing up as I'm a millennial, it was some of the best days. Like, we had the days where we were chasing the ice cream truck. We were in our pockets looking for change at the last minute when the ice cream truck is always run down the street. We had the days where we would yell out at the window for our mom to throw down change. That's how we lived. That's how we lived. And the kids of today, they will never, ever experience something like that. Like, even if it's kind of like emulated in some form of way, I feel like they will never get a chance to experience what we experienced. Like, I'm talking about eating a red cherry icy with a white tea. Those days where you got a white tea on and you eating a cherry icy. If my kid even look at the icy and they got a white tea on, I'm like, what do you think about? No, I'm playing. Like I said, I'm more lenient, and I try to make my kids enjoy themselves and enjoy, just the experience and understanding that they are kids, and I want them to explore the world safely, because there's a lot of dangers out here, but I try to just get them to explore the world and enjoy themselves, because there are a lot of craziness out here in this world. There's a lot of sickos, there's a lot of weirdos, there's people out here that are trying to harm innocent people, innocent kids. So I would say I'm the type of parent that I wouldn't call myself an authoritative parent, but at the same time, I'm watchful. I would say I'm very watchful. But at the same time, I always try to give more independence to my children. I don't want them to feel like they can't do anything on their own. Because I feel like if you're too authoritative as a parent, your child is going to be scared at a certain point to do anything on their own. Because they're like looking around for you like, all right, what should I do next? It's almost like you always have to make that decision for them. And I don't want them to be like that. I want them to feel like, okay, my parent taught me this. I can explore the world. I can start making decisions for myself. I can start, as hard as it may be, I can start making decisions on my own. I don't need my parent always with me. And that's the goal. That's the goal. That's the ultimate goal for my children. I want them to be able to explore this world, but also I want them to have common sense. Because as you guys know, sense is not common in this world. It is just not common. So I feel like a lot of our kids need to be taught. Honestly, do you guys think common sense can be taught? Like, I'm thinking about it now. Or is common sense more innate? Are you just born with common sense? Because I thought about that and I'm like, can I actually teach my daughters common sense, or should they already just have it? You know what I mean? And there's a lot of life lessons that we got to teach our children. And we're not going to always have the answers for our children. Our children are going to come to us one day and be like, okay, what do I do in this situation? And it may be something you haven't experienced as a parent, but you try your best and you look at your life's experience and you give your child the best answer possible that you could think of. Do you know if it's going to work or not? No, you don't. But do you give your child the best answer possible that they could possibly just work with? Yes, I would say so. So I just think us as parents, we have to be the best parents we can be and have patience with ourselves. There's going to be a lot of times where we feel like we didn't give our children the best advice, and we feel like, damn, maybe I should have told my child this instead of this. Because we're not perfect either. We're not perfect parents. And a lot of times we're going to make the harshest mistake that our children are going to look at us and be like, Daddy, why did you tell me to do this? Or Mommy, you told me to do this. This was not right. And it's okay. It's okay to mess up as a parent. It is okay. But you got to understand something. If you are coming from a place of love with your children, that's the best thing you could do. Our answers that we give our children are not going to always be right. Sometimes we're going to fall flat on our face with the advice we give our children. And our children going to be looking at us like, you told me to do this. Like, yeah, I know, but I love you. It's just what it is. We don't have all the answers as parents. We don't have the answers, not all of them. And I'm growing to understand that I'm going to make a lot of mistakes as a parent. A lot of mistakes. And I'm learning to know, I'm learning that it's okay. It's okay to make these mistakes. Because our children are going to make a lot of mistakes too. But as long as we're on together in this journey, and we're understanding when you fall, guess what? This is you looking at your child. Guess what? When you fall, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. So don't be afraid to ever fall. Because the biggest lesson of falling is getting back up, right? Not staying down. Because once you stay down, what is that called? Failure, right? You don't want to stay down in life's trials. Because I'm trying to teach my daughter now. She's young, but I'm trying to tell her or teach her You're going to go through things in life as you get older. It's inevitable. You can't avoid it. Life will teach us. Life will throw trial after trial at us. And we got to understand we're not going to always be ready for it. And that's okay. As long as we know when that trial comes, we're going to try our best to figure it out. Figure it out. We're not going to always know or have the answer. And we can't ask everybody for an answer because guess what? Everybody's answer is different. And when we're asking these questions, we don't really know what's going to work. We don't know who has the right answer. So it's all going to be trial and error in the first place. The type of parent that I just want to continuously be, like I said, is depending on the phase of my child. Like someday your child may need a listener. You may be an authoritative parent that really doesn't have time to listen, but you have time to set the rules. You may need to switch your parenting style in that moment because guess what? Your child needs someone to listen now. They don't need someone to just be strict with rules. They need someone that is going to listen to them, listen to their issues, and understand where they're coming from. And I'm gonna be quite honest. It's not always easy to switch your parenting style, especially if you're very comfortable with a certain kind of parenting style. Like if you're used to being authoritative and setting ground rules for your children to follow, a lot of times, like I said, they're going to change a phase. So now you have to figure out how to relate to them with that with that kind of phase. And it's not always going to work out if you want to keep the same phase. Right now, I feel like I'm more so the authoritative parent, but I'm also the listener. But then I realize my daughter, she is the sensitive type. Like right now, she requires someone to listen, but be more understanding. And that's what I find myself struggling with sometimes. Like being quiet in certain moments instead of just telling her the solution right away. Oh, you should do this. You should do that. Why did you do it this way? Like, you know what I mean? Some kids don't need that. Some kids just need silence from you in a temporary time frame. So when you're sitting in the car and your child is upset about something and they're not really voicing their emotions in that moment, some kids are not going to say what you want them to say. They're just going to sit there and they're going to have a look on their face. Their emotion is going to be on their face. In that moment, you as a parent, if you're an authoritative parent, you're going to be so demanding. Oh, you should follow this. Maybe that wouldn't happen then. But if you're pushy like that, you may push your child further away now because now their phase is different. Before with the authoritative parenting, it was cool in the beginning, but now their phases are changing. So that's why I say you cannot always have the same kind of phase throughout while your child is growing up. And we got to understand that our children are listening to us. They're listening to us and they're testing us as well. They want to see how well you're going to actually show that you care for them. And sometimes they'll require this with negative attention. Sometimes it'll be negative attention that they're requiring from you, but they're doing it in a loving way because they want to really test you and see if you love them. I'm learning to be quiet at times because there's times I know that I just have to be quiet. Just don't even talk. Don't even talk. Don't even say anything. Just sit there with an arm over their shoulder, right? And just make them feel that you're just there for them. And I honestly think that's what my daughter needs. But I appreciate you for being on this live. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you subscribe to the channel. I hope that you watch some more of my videos. And I will be back on here. So take care, everyone. And I appreciate all you guys' comments. Peace.